Okay, Alyssa, I need to hear if you are feeling petty this week or if you've got something to bring us some sanity.
Erin, I am feeling petty.
Oh, good.
And you and I have discussed this a little bit, but, you know, a couple years ago, I had to have an MRI. And by accident, the MRI company sent me the lab results instead of my doctor. So I get this email, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm with my sister who listens to the podcast. She will laugh at this. We're together in an elevator, and I'm like, oh my God, they sent me my results. And she's like, open them up. Let's see what it says. And I was like, okay, are you like emotionally equipped if there's some bad shit in here? She's like, absolutely not. And so that was a couple years ago. Now, just a couple weeks ago, I took a blood test that screens you for all these different kinds of cancer. And I just need to know if anyone who has worked at a lab or any sort of like medical testing facility has ever watched the episode of Sex and the City where Samantha gets tested for AIDS for the first time, and everything anyone has told her is if they call you into the office, you have HIV. And she gets called into the office, she passes out. Okay, the modern equivalent is when these companies over email you like you are a Domino's pizza customer waiting for your pizza. It's like, hey girl, hey. And you see the email, your heart stops. You are driving in the car and your Apple CarPlay, whatever the fuck that thing is. You have an email from XYZ Laboratory. I pull over because I'm like, oh my God, it's the results. No, just them saying they've received my blood work.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay. So then a couple days later, another email. I'm like, oh my God. They're like, just a reminder to let you know it's going to take about 2 to 3 weeks. Okay.
Oh God.
So here's the deal. My doctor told me that when he gave me the test. If you are emailing me, I think that I'm about to open up the results of my current state of health or prospective health, you know? Like, people, if you work at a lab or a company, you need different subjects, okay? Like, it should be subject, just... like, I don't know if it's just an update or not urgent, like anything, because I am now being terrorized by emails that I am 90% sure are just updates. But every time my heart stops, my stomach gets upset because who knows what the email is going to include. So anyway, I would just like some sensitivity training for people who email about your blood results.
Oh my God.
It's like how they put whether you got into college or not on the outside of the envelope for parents now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. I got to say, I have to take a lot of tests right now because of just like whatever. And I'm fucking tired of it too. LabCorp, leave me alone. Honestly.
Leave me alone unless you got something to say. Calm it down.
Send me an email that's like sample received. And in the email say, if you want to check on updates or get a sense of timelines, go to the website. Here's how you get an account. And then do 100%. Not contact me again until the test results are available. Please.
That is truly, the subject should be update : sample received. Update : sample processing. Don't give me a stroke.
Yeah. Somebody's job relies on a high open rate on those emails.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
like, I already paid you, okay? You got me. Stop fishing, you know?
Just health stuff has kind of been on my mind this week also because there's this article about this wellness influencer. And this isn't my Sandy Petty. I just wanted to talk about this because it was just like, of course, this guy. I feel like every woman who ever saw like a video of this guy was like, of course, this guy's fucking like... This guy named Andrew Huberman, who is a Stanford professor. I think he's a neurologist and he has his own like neurology lab. And he's a big time wellness influencer who has made most famously a video about the way that alcohol impacts your body and brain. That is in like sober circles. It's like a very widely shared and widely referenced video. But he's also this sort of like hunky middle-aged science boy who has, a loyal fans who are probably mad at me if they're listening to this right now. And there's this article that came out in New York Magazine this week about how he had it was about a bunch of things, but it was mostly about how he had like 6 girlfriends at once. And it they all found each other and kind of like became friends with each other, and they kind of like share, they have like inside jokes about his like classic ways of responding to like sects and all this stuff. And one thing that I was thinking about and like reading some of the ways that he would talk to them is like, I feel like the wrong people are getting too much therapy.
Oh.
Because it was a lot of like Jonah Hill style weaponized therapy speak. And he talks a lot about how talk therapy has been something that's been valuable to him since he was in high school. Andrew, that is enough therapy.
That's enough.
You don't need to go to more therapy. Dana, was that your take with the article?
Oh my God. It was that thing of just like, actually, if you go to enough therapy, you can justify any shitty behavior you do.
Yes.
There was some point in the article where it's like he was caught cheating and he was just like, I value your feedback. Like, I let my,
my feedback is drop dead.
Yeah. He just like responded in this infuriating way. And it's like, no, you were acting shitty. Sometimes people are shitty, and that's just it.
That honestly was the vibes of, remember that thing that went viral on TikTok a couple years ago that's like,
I've treasured our season of friendship, but we're moving in different directions in life. I don't have the capacity to invest in our friendship any longer.
or like everyone speaks to each other like they are the head of HR at a company and they're about to lay you off. And it's like, you're not allowed, they're talking to you in a way that will prevent them from ever being held culpable of their own actions. And like, oh my God, therapy does help a lot of people, but a lot of people, the people that are the most excited about it are the people that should stop going.
He's just found a new vocabulary to justify classic misogyny and like 1950s style patriarchy.
Yes, that's why we should medicate these people instead of give them the verbal tools. Just lithium from now on.
I think you should have to pass a test on bell hooks before, as a white man, you're allowed a podcast. You're not allowed to buy one unless you've completed a reading list and done a test.
That's fair. You get it's like a driver's license. If you are found to be driving erratically or irresponsibly or using therapy speak to justify having 6 girlfriends at once, one of whom you gave a virulent strain of HPV to, okay, yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, I mean,
Microphone taken away.
Yeah, no, it's and if you get caught with it, then you have to go to jail. Straight to jail. 30 days.
That works.
That works. Okay, Dana, Sanity Corner where I feel petty this week.
It's I feel petty, and this might be a specific one, but I feel like you two might understand, and I think that anyone who's been to a bookstore will also understand. Blurb culture for books is just, it's driving me crazy. Mm-hmm. To anyone who's not initiated, basically, if you write a book, your publisher is just like, great, who are your most successful and connected friends who can pretend to read this book and give 3 sentences to be like, what a sparkling and deft novella. A brilliant insight into the human experience. And
bracing,
yeah. Oh, a fresh new voice, like whatever. It's nonsense. It just shows how connected you are. Which sure, I understand the reason that it's so prolific. One, because publishers want to foist as much of the publicity work onto the authors as possible. Mm-hmm. And also, there are fewer and fewer places these days who are reviewing books. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a book that's not going to be reviewed in the New York Times, which very few books statistically are, then if you go to a bookstore, there will be nothing written on the cover and people won't know if it's good or bad. So they just have to trust your, work acquaintance who says it's great. It sucks, and I hate it. It's so awkward asking.
It is demoralizing to send that email.
Humiliating.
Like, hey, here's a sample chapter of my book. It would mean so much if you would be willing to blurb it, but no pressure. No pressure.
No worries if not.
No, exactly. Totally cool. Know how busy you are. And then you're like, oh my God. There's always the question, do you send it through their publicist or through their manager and their agent? Or
are you allowed to DM them? Is that?
Yes.
Oh,
it is.
It's awful.
I have to tell you, almost any person who has asked me to blurb their book, I'm just a hard yes, because I know it sucked for you to ask me. And so, like, if I did not hate your book, I will absolutely blurb it.
Don't say that on air. People are about to take that
you're about to
into
get
account.
spammed.
Yeah, maybe edit that part out.
My favorite blurb of all time is on narrative of the Frederick Douglass's autobiography, and I once saw a version of Frederick Douglass's autobiography with a blurb from Abraham Lincoln that just said, "He is my friend," which is the subtext of every single blurb.
100%. Because Dana, you know what the worst part of it is? When you're like, you come back to your publisher and you're like, look how good I did, and they're like, we're only going to use 4 of the 5. And you're like, oh, hell no. I can't tell someone they went through the effort of reading this fucking book, and now you're not going to put their blurb on the cover? Like, horror.
I'm just going to say, if and when I write a book, all I want the blurbs to say is some variation of, I love this bitch.
You know what? My quote for your book, and it better be top of the pile, is this book was metal. That's all I'm going to write.
This book is metal.
I will say on the air, if anyone is listening who asked me to blurb their book and I haven't done it yet, just remind me. I probably forgot. It's so awful. The whole process, both sides of it. We need a better system. We need to fund writing about books again.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was reading some Lauren Euler this week because she just had a book come out, and I love her. I absolutely adore her writing, and I love a takedown artist.
Yes.
Even if I disagree with the substance of the takedown, I just love a good takedown. And she is the master. She's
I was texting with Erin at Lauren's book party. Lauren, co-writer of both my books. I was like, I don't know if I'm even cool enough to be at this book event. Like, Naomi Fry is there. Naomi Fry is doing the Q&A. Sloane Crosley is there.
Oh my
for
God.
anyone listening, Erin's book, No Judgment, available now, is wonderful.
Lauren's book.
Lauren's book. Sorry,
Yes.
Lauren's book.
I love a critic who actually is a critic, who is willing to have takes. And she is also so cool that I am terrified. I never want to meet her because I just know she will judge me and judge me correctly.
That's the problem.
She's 6 feet tall and looks really great in all glasses.
Everything.
That's
Everything. When we had to
devastating.
take a picture, it looked like I was like so excited to see her. My eyes got all teary, so proud of her. And she had to bow down like I was a fucking hobbit to take a picture. I was like, wow, you're actually half your actual height trying to take a picture with me.
I'm just going to say I've socialized with her before, and I had her on my old podcast once, and she's lovely. An absolute lovely person.
Lovely. Loves cats.
In no way is just like a full-time, all the time critic of everything. That's just how she writes. But yeah, I was reading some criticism and I was like, yeah, I miss criticism. I miss good criticism. Okay, here is I feel petty and I am going to sound old again. I don't care. I think generational complaints are valid, and I think many generational complaints against millennials are valid. Like, for example, all of these times that we tried to tinker with something or disrupt something, we ended up fucking ruining it. We have ruined so many things, and it's not like, oh, millennials are destroying the napkin industry. I don't mean like that. Millennials are killing, that old hacky headline thing. Millennials have killed the entire fabric of American society. I'm just going to say that. So This is just me prefacing by saying I am aware that we have shortcomings. I'm going to say something that I have found to be a problem with Gen Z.
Okay.
They are the least resourceful people that I have ever come across. Problem-solving skills. Oh my God, were you in middle school before you had to wipe your own butt? Okay, and here is the, and I know not all Gen Zers. Our associate producer, Fiona, is in Gen Z and obviously is excluded from this characterization. I took my daughter to McDonald's the other day. I don't normally go to McDonald's, but we had some time. I wanted her to eat something, thought it'd be fun, didn't want to go home. And we, because she gets wild at home, not because I don't like being at home, because she's just a maniac at home. So we went to McDonald's. I ordered like a little chicken sandwich. The chicken sandwich came dry. I was like, oh, I'll go up to the counter and ask for mayonnaise. They acted very confused. They brought me out a small hamburger box full of mayonnaise with no utensil. And
What?
I was just like, I like took it and I went back and I came back to the counter and I was like, can I have like a knife or a spoon? You gave me a box of mayonnaise.
Box of mayonnaise.
And it just made me think, like, all of these kids, like, it is easier to just do something right the first time, to solve a problem correctly the first time, than to do the thing that takes the least amount of time, because you're just going to end up having to redo it. You know? Like,
Wow.
you're just going to end up having to redo it the right way. Like, how did you think that would end? You hand me a box of mayonnaise, and then what, I go back to my chair, and I'm just like, well, guess I got this box of mayonnaise.
Just gonna use my fingers.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna come back to the counter and like, fine, whatever. You don't have any packets of mayonnaise. I don't care. It's fine. But like, and now I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be annoyed, and you're gonna have to do another thing. Like, why not do what? Oh yeah, I'm giving her a box of mayonnaise. Here's a butter knife, or here's a spoon. Sorry, we didn't have any packets. Great. I'm not going to bother you again. I have no further need to interact with you. I understand. That's fine. You don't control like what supplies you have. We have no problem. But like a box of mayonnaise with nothing else.
But also, can I ask a question? In like a post-COVID, or I mean, I don't know if we're really post-COVID, but like, shouldn't they have packets?
Sure, but that is not the responsibility of the people that are working behind the counter.
No, I get that, but that's just my ancillary issue.
Yeah, it was just like, oh my God. And then there have been other situations where I've been like in public and I've interacted with somebody age 25 or under, and I'm like, why didn't you think for a second before you responded to me? Like, why? It was like watching Sims move through the world, you know, like getting stuck behind a couch. Like, what do I do? I don't. Anyway, Dana's nodding with recognition. Do you have an agreement or disagreement with me here?
No, I value self-sufficiency and I value competency, and I just think that's a skill more people should have in general.
Yeah. I mean, look, we talk shit about Gen X sometimes because they are the generation that voted for Trump the most. People, Gen Xers who didn't go to college, white Gen Xers who didn't go to college.
White Gen Xers.
But at least, you know, they had parents that just were like, I don't know, go run around in the yard for 3 hours. They had parents that like needed commercials on TV that were like, hey, it's 10 p.m. Where are your kids? Like,
people don't understand how real that was.
Like,
I literally went to bed watching various stars across the country be like,
hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? And sometimes the answer was no.
yes, it's because there's the parents of Gen X did not want to raise them and they just let them be feral. And I will say that Gen Xers tend to be pretty resourceful, right?
Thank you. Resourceful Gen Xer reporting for duty also today.
Yes. I just gotta say, if all of the structures that make our world are crumbling, as many in Gen Z and younger millennials have pointed out, you gotta develop some problem solving skills. Take a beat, figure out what needs to be done, do it properly, and you don't have to worry about it again. That is my old lady advice.